Hey guys, Silver Shady here. Welcome back to another episode of Pokemonday, and today we are going over a Lugia EX Decidueye GX deck. My own take on it, at least. Just another standard format Sun and Moon based deck, and one that definitely has seen a lot of hype, especially once Decidueye was announced. This type of deck just immediately was one of the first things that came to mind with a lot of people. So we're going to go over this real quick. Naturally, the star of the deck is going to be Decidueye GX. With 240 HP, it is a Grass-type Stage 2 Pokemon GX. For 1 Grass and 2 colorless energies, it does Razor Leaf for 90 damage. GX attack, for 1 Grass energy, Hollow Hunt GX allows you to put 3 cards from your discard pile back into your hand. But the main draw for this card is going to be Feather Arrow. Once during your turn, before your attack, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, and you can do this for each and every Decidueye GX you have in play. We run a 4-3-3 line of this, which means we can use 3 Feather Arrows in 1 turn. We also, as our main attacker, we run 3 copies of Lugia EX. God, I love this card. 170 HP, colorless Pokemon EX. For 2 colorless energies, does Arrow Ball for 20 damage. This attack does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. And then for 4 colorless energies, we have Deep Hurricane, 80 damage, and if there's a Stadium card in play, this attack does 70 more damage. Then discard that Stadium. In all honesty, Deep Hurricane is going to be the one that we're most likely going to use once we get our Decidueyes into play, as with 2 Feather Arrow Snipes and a Fighting Fury Belt on our Lugia, we can hit 200 damage, which is enough to knock out a good chunk of the format. This side of Solgaleo and Lunala, and most of the starters, but aside from Decidueye, really none of them really get played. We also run 2 copies of Shaman EX for draw power. Into our supporters, we run 4 copies of Professor Sycamore, 3 copies of N, 2 copies of Lysander, we run 1 copy of Brock's Grit, 1 Professor Kukui, and 1 copy of Hex Maniac. Now, Hex Maniac may seem like an odd choice, however, it can prove useful, especially if you're playing like a Lunala-based deck. If you use your Feather Arrows before you play Hex Maniac, then realistically speaking, you can shut your opponent down. Because Feather Arrow and Setup are really our only abilities, and Feather Arrow definitely can be used at any point in time. You do have to plan ahead a little bit, but it is what it is. For our Stadium, we naturally run 4 copies of Broken Vine Space, also known as Forest of Giant Plants, which allows our Grass Pokemon to evolve during our first turn or on the same turn that they are played or evolved. Which means if we can hit the entire combo, we can get all 3 of our Decidueye GX out turn 1. For our item cards, we run 3 copies of Ultra Ball and 1 copy of Nest Ball. Nest Ball being able to search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it directly onto your bench. You shuffle your deck afterward. Not a card that I'm too excited about, but this deck can prove useful, especially if you only need 1 more Rowlet on the bench, as you do not have to discard to get it on there. However, Ultra Ball is still far more versatile. We will also run 2 copies of Level Ball. This is just for more searching options. Yes, we do have 6 forms of Pokemon Search in this deck, which may seem like a lot, but when you're running a Stage 2 line, it can prove extremely useful. We run 1 copy of Switch, and the standard 4 copies of Versus Seeker. And for disruption purposes, we run 4 copies of Crushing Hammer and 1 copy of Enhanced Hammer. This is to try to help slow our opponent down, as we can have some slow starts. That has happened before. We also run 2 copies of Floatstone, because Decidueye has a nice fat 2 retreat cost, and that's never fun to pay. And we run 2 copies of Fighting Fury Belt for our Lugia EX. Lastly, to round out the list, we run 4 copies of Double Colorless Energy, and 5 basic Grass Energy. A couple of things that you might want to do with this list. This is another list that's more in testing than anything else. I have been toying with it a little bit. but I still feel like it can use some tweaking. I could definitely see someone trying to tech in, say, a Tauros GX along with a Ninja Boy into this list, as we still are in a 2-hit format. And Tauros, naturally, having, say, a Lugia with a Fighting Fury belt on it, you rack up 150 damage on that. Ninja Boy into a Tauros, and you can swing back for some hefty damage, even more than what Lugia could swing for. Up until that point, though, Lugia is definitely going to be far more useful. I've chose to just go straight consistency with this list, but you definitely could do that. If you were going to do that, I'd say probably drop one of your Lugias and a Hex Maniac to add in the one Tauros and the one Ninja Boy. But again, that's all for everyone to take into stride, and yeah. Anyway, let's go into a couple of games with this. Okay, so water, grass, colorless, lightning. What the hell are we facing? I'm really interested in this one. Okay, so we won the coin flip, and we will choose to go first, as this is one of the decks that does love to choose to go first. Okay, so we start out with Lugia, a couple of Rowlets, and a Dartrix, along with a Forest of Giant Plants. Wow, we can get out Decidueye in turn 1. That does not happen often. Come on, pick up the Rowlet, put it onto the bench. There you go. Alright, what are we facing? A couple of unknowns. Interesting, alright. We're going to play our double colorless energy, and we're actually going to be left with no hand here, but... Alright, so we're going to Dartrix, and Decidueye, and might as well lay down a 20 damage snipe onto our opponent's unknown active here, and then pass our turn. Unfortunately, we didn't get a draw supporter with that, but it is what it is. Still, the fact that we got that much board presence down on turn 1 is actually quite impressive. Alright, so we do see our opponent lays down a Tauros GX. Our opponent's going to play Farewell Letter. I'm imagining they may even play Decidueye themselves. For a Clef Key going down, that's not really going to be useful against us. Our opponent's going to use a Float Stone to Farewell Letter his unknown. Okay. Draw a card. Double colorless energy goes on to Tauros. We see Vespiquen, alright. Combi, and they're going to use our Forest of Giant Plants, so they play the same thing, so that's interesting. Opponent's going to Wonderlock his Tauros GX and use Horn Attack on us. Okay. We top deck the Lysander, which actually may prove pretty important, as we can Lysander up our opponent's Vespiquen here. We can use a Feather Arrow there. And we can at least dodge that Tauros for a little bit here. And with 70 damage on there, we can actually hit, with one more Feather Arrow snipe, a prize off of that. Only thing I'm worried about is that Tauros GX hitting some nice numbers here. We need to hit a DCE to be able to knock that thing out in one hit. Alright, our opponent plays a DCE onto the Vespiquen, which I'm a little confused on, as if we don't hit the DCE, which we don't, we're just going to be doing this anyway. Which just gonna net us another prize card, which hits us a Crushing Hammer, which we hit Tails on, but still, that's... Anyway. So yeah, unfortunately we're not hitting anything at this point, so we're left questioning what to do here, because we could take one more hit, you do 90 damage onto his Tauros, but in return he can just Mad Bull GX us for the knockout there. We are going to play the Arrow Ball here. He will be able to Mad Bull GX us for the knockout, but with any luck we should be able to do something in return. He could also just Rage for the knockout too, but... see what our opponent decides to play. Special Charge, okay. Alright, so our opponent is going to Rage us for a knockout. We're going to go ahead and sack our Rowlet here, as it's better than losing our Decidueye. And we're going to be able to Brock's Grit here, I guess. Get that Lugia back into our deck. But aside from that, not really much. We are going to Feather Arrow. Hopefully lay down a little bit more damage on that Tauros, and we're going to pass the turn, and he will be able to knock out that Rowlet. And Rage will knock out the Rowlet. Alright, so our Decidueye GX becomes active. We hit the Lugia, which is only going to do so much for us if we don't have anything to follow it up with. Alright, so it does look like this is a loss. We do take those, so it is what it is, but... the only way this would not be a loss is if we manage to hit. And our opponent's gonna Mad Bull GX for way too much damage. The only way this wouldn't be a loss is if we might hit. The Shaman might save it. But even then, our opponent's down to one prize that they need, and that's gonna be tough. Alright, so we are gonna Crushing Hammer here. We're gonna hit the heads. We will be able to end our opponent down to one card in hand. That may save the game for us. Our opponent does say well played. Go ahead and play both of those. We will have to pass our turn as we did not attach that Grass Energy when we had the chance. Does our opponent hit the DCE? Yes. Unfortunately. And Lysander will bring up the Shaman for the game, unfortunately. Okay. Water colorless. Alright. We're gonna call heads. And Lugia decides he doesn't want to show his face today, that's fine. Alright, well, at least we hit the Rowlet. Our opponent starts Manaphy. So it looks like a Water Box deck, probably involving Lapras. I've been seeing a lot of those decks run around. And in fact, it is one deck I have been looking into building. Yep, Lapras. Yeah, Lapras with Fighting Fury Belt is absolutely disgusting. So definitely a deck I do want to look into building. Okay, it's the Kukui. Alright. Shaman? No, Glacian. Okay. Oh, wait. No, Lapras is weak to grass this time. Okay. So it's playing off its water typing rather than its steel typing. That's interesting. So our Decidueye GX may actually get some hits off in this one. Okay, so we had another double colorless energy, which is meh. So we are going to level ball here. We're going to go ahead and grab our Dartrix and check how many Decidueye. So we did prize a single Decidueye, but it is what it is. We are going to force the giant plants here. We're going to attach a double colorless energy onto Rowlet. We're going to play our Dartrix before we Shaman. That would have been a very stupid move. Play our Shaman down, net us another 4 cards, which will land us a couple of things, actually. But let's see. We don't want to get rid of all of our Dartrix, so we're going to get rid of the double colorless energy and the Professor Sycamore. Go ahead, come in here, grab that Decidueye GX out of the deck. And now we are going to play the N. Okay. And we will be able to play the Crushing Hammer here, which does get a Tails, unfortunately. We're going to go ahead, we're going to Feather Arrow here, lay down a good 20 damage hit on that Lapras over there. We're going to retreat with our Floatstone here into our Shaman, and if our opponent chooses to take that knockout, they can feel free to do so. Water Energy from hand gets played. Energy switch, and our opponent is going to take out that knockout, it looks like. Can't say I blame them, I probably would too. Then again, I might also look at what's on the field and second guess it, most likely. But Trainers meant for Pokemon Ranger. Okay, so they're expecting they're going to be able to Blizzard Burn next turn, but that is not going to happen. So they're instead going to paralyze us, and then scoop. Right. Dark Psychic, Dragon, and Metal. Okay. Solgaleo, maybe? Not really sure what else you use Metal for in this format, but... We won the coin flip, so we will choose to go first. Start off with a Rowlet again. Our opponent had no benched Pokemon, or no basic Pokemon to put onto their field, so we will be able to get a Muldra off this. Nice Full Art Skyline N. Very nice. Okay, so we did hit the Solgaleo. Okay, definitely see Double Colorless and Rainbow Energy in there. So a lot of special energy going around in that deck. We will get 2 mulligan draws after this. We will take them. Okay, netting us a Lugia, which is actually quite helpful. Okay. So we have a couple of different ways we can go about doing this. Take our Double Colorless Energy here, drop that down. Drop the Fighting Fury Belt down there. And I want to actually try to take advantage of these crushing hammers. So we're going to pass our turn on this one. Worst case scenario is they N us into 6 other cards. Our opponent plays a Floatstone down onto their Cosmog. Plays a Silent Lab down. Okay, that may screw us over. And they do N us. Okay. Alright, we'll see what we get. Yuck. Not a whole fucking lot. And they're gonna grab a Hoopa, which they're gonna try to play even though they played Silent Lab. Oh, I'm definitely giving a smiley face for that one. And they're gonna Dust Collecting. Okay. What are you doing there, bud? I'm not even sure he knows. Gosh, he's... And they're gonna scoop the game at that point, so... Okay, so we get another win under our belt. Alright, well, yeah, that's a few matches for you guys. Anyways, this is definitely a deck that I've taken a huge shine to. Perhaps my favorite Sun and Moon infused deck that I've actually played with so far. Just because it seems incredibly fast and just so out of the blue. And it involves my favorite Pokemon, because, yeah. Either way, guys, if you are wondering about the code card, the code card giveaway this week is actually going to be on the previous video, which is Turbo Lugia. You can see a link to it on the screen somewhere here. Anyways, I hope you guys like this deck, and, yeah, hopefully we'll be coming to you with another Sun and Moon based deck, and, next week. I'm more looking towards Lapras GX, and, Umbreon GX, assuming I can get a couple more Umbreons for the deck that I'm working on. I've been tinkering with Solgaleo, and, man, the problem I've been finding with Solgaleo is it's too slow for expanded format, being a stage 2. Expanded format's just way too fast for it. But standard format, it doesn't make a good main attacker because it doesn't have any good energy accelerator like Bronzong. So it would have to be a support Pokemon. But between the fact that it sucks as a support Pokemon, and the fact that it doesn't have any good secondary attackers to back it up, aside from maybe Genesect or Lugia, I can't find a way to use it. I will keep testing with it. Maybe after Guardians Rising, the next set, maybe it'll get better? I personally don't see it going anywhere, though. I personally view Lunala as a much more playable card at this point. But, I digress. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week with another Sun and Moon video, and the last video to close out Plasma Month, which will be more of a fun video. So, see you then.